Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us. Rebecca with Results here with Texas Homeowners Helpline. I have a really special guest today, and his name is Ryan Shea, like shea butter. Thank you so much for joining us. And so everybody, Ryan actually wrote a book called Dallas Condo Living, and he has several years of experience specifically in condos, and so I consider him an expert. And you know, I like to bring you the most valuable information, and so I brought Ryan in here today to talk to us about what is the difference between buying a condo or a townhouse versus a single family residence when you're looking at it on the investor side as an investment opportunity. One of the biggest things I think that people don't understand when they're buying a condo is, you know, can I buy a condo? They're thinking, oh, I'm approved for X amount of money, I can go ahead and go and buy a condo. And what is it that people actually find out about the financing of a condo?
Yeah, it's a really good point and a really good question, and really probably the most important question in purchasing a condo, whether you're buying it to live in as a homestead or an investment property. And I think in both cases, you need to know in a condo complex if it's warrantable or non-warrantable. And what that means is that if it's warrantable, it means that any type of financing will be good at that property. So FHA financing, VA financing, conventional. And if it's a non-warrantable condo, what it generally means is that 50% of the property is investor occupied, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just people have to understand with the financing, it makes it either warrantable or non-warrantable. And again, you can get financing, it just changes the terms. And really contact either one of us to find out more, to know more.
So warrantable versus non-warrantable. Warrantable, just to sum up, basically means that you can pretty much get almost any kind of financing. Non-warrantable basically means that there may be some hiccups there, and you don't want to get, you know, far into the transaction where you've already spent earnest money, you've already spent money on an inspection, you've already spent money on probably getting those HOA documents that give you the rules and regulations. I mean, we're talking about potentially several $1,000s that you would be out just to not find out that that home it can be financed or not through the program that you're using. So that's a great point, Ryan. So talk to us a little bit more about the development that's going on here in Dallas, because like we were talking about earlier, we were pointing over to that that crane that's out there. Yeah. Tell us what's going on in the North Texas community.
Well, I think what's going on is there's a lot of development of townhomes and condominiums, and it's going to continually happen because it is more cost effective to build more townhomes or condominiums in a smaller footprint, sell them at a lower price, so it's going to get more volume, but eventually would, you know, increase that overall sales volume price to way more than if there were 3 or 4 single family homes that someone was trying to sell. So there's a lot of development opportunities, and I've talked to several builders and developers, and I know one in particular here, their main focus is on the development of townhomes. That's going to be what they're going to be doing over the next few years for their goals and mission and purpose for their own development purposes.
And that's fantastic because, you know, one thing that we are known for in Texas is definitely our land. And as big as the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is, it's not completely developed. I mean, all you have to do is just visit once here and you'll see that there's a lot of land still undeveloped, especially if you go out, you know, to the east or west, or, you know, in any direction, right? Yeah. North or south, there's a lot of land to develop. And so that makes sense that you can get more value basically building up, right? Yeah. Instead of building out.
Exactly.
So that makes a lot of sense. You know, with that mindset of more value, right, for your dollar, talk to us a little bit about the maintenance in a condo versus a single family home if you are looking as a buy and hold investor.
So in my opinion, it's the best way to go, because your HOAs, depending on the HOA, and this is the other reason to have an expert agent like myself help you with this, understanding what the HOAs cover. If an investor goes in to buy a condominium, knowing what they're going to have to pay and what they're not going to have to pay. And one of our conversations that we had earlier was about that with the blanket insurance that's generally covered within your HOA, you don't have to worry about replacing a roof. You don't have to replace or worry about having, if the pool leaks or something, that you'd have to go and then, pay for that pool maintenance. So there's several of those variables. And the other thing, there's generally on pretty much every HOA, there's no yard maintenance. You have a company come and take care of anything that common areas. So really your main expense, or whatever you're paying off on your mortgage, if any, if you paid cash, of course there's not going to be, but paying your HOA dues, and then general maintenance that you're going to have to do within your house. And I could get into all of that, but it really depends on the condo complex, because some condo complexes cover everything.
Wow.
They cover everything, so you don't have to deal with any of it. Now your HOA fees are going to be higher, and then it's just a cost to, value ratio to determine, hey, this is what I can bring in rents, or this is what I can flip this property for.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense, and especially when you're looking at different investment strategies. If you're looking at buy and hold versus a fix and flip, all of that comes into play. Your holding costs come into play if it's an association fee that you have to pay every month. But then, on the flip side, they may have recently done some renovations to the outside that increases your value, right? Or maybe that may be something that is planned, and you will know that if you're part of that association. So that's a wonderful point about the maintenance. So the last thing I want to go ahead and talk to you about is, the importance. We touched on the HOA association. It's called Homeowners Association. That's what HOA stands for. But what is some of the pitfalls that investors get into when they don't take into consideration getting those HOA documents in advance and reviewing them, and having an expert like you and I actually review them?
Yeah, it can be a big problem, and people find out that sometimes there could be a lawsuit going on at the property, and if there's a lawsuit going on the property, you're not going to be able to finance. Or you'd mentioned there could be a maintenance issue, or there was some type of maintenance that was being done that you would hopefully would have been disclosed, but sometimes it's not until you get the HOA docs. And there was an assessment charge, so it was an assessment on top of your HOA dues. So let's say your HOA dues were $500, but there was an extra $200 per month in assessments that needed to be paid, or there was a fixed amount of $1,000 that the previous owner didn't pay. So there's just a lot of front side legwork that can be done to uncover that, to see what is really going on within the property, and to know, hey, is this a property that is going to be good for me? And ultimately someone may do the numbers and say, okay, it's $1,000, I don't care, I'll pay the $1,000, and I'm going to be fine, because this is going to be a good enough investment for me over the long term, where I can flip this quick enough, and that $1,000 is just not going to be that big of a hiccup on my on my overall cost.
But they would, and investors, I'm sure that you feel the same way. You would want to know, right? You want to know, and that's going to ultimately affect your bottom line and your return on investment, your rate of return, all that good stuff. So those are all really good points that Ryan has made here today. And there's so much more. I'm telling you, this book that he has here, it's for buyers, it's for sellers, it's for investors, it's for realtors.
Yeah.
I actually am getting one of these books, and I'm going to go ahead and drop it off at one of my buyers, because I really want him to be informed and know what's going on with the Dallas condo community and what he should be looking for. So if you are a realtor and watching this, please get a couple of Ryan's books. I'm sure that they'll be helpful to you. If you're an investor and you are thinking about buying or selling a condo, give one of us a call. We would be happy to help you. Like I said, Ryan is the expert, but he's a friend of mine, and we're in the same network, and so we help each other out. So we just welcome you to give us a call, and we thank you again for joining us. Thank you so much, Ryan.
You're welcome.
You are an awesome friend, and definitely a great realtor, and I look forward to having this chat again sometime soon.
Awesome.
Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.